All right, everyone,
Well,
welcome back. Today we will dive into the remaining tool stack from Paco Cantero, our co-founder, talking about the business part of his productivity system. Well, in context of the paperless movement, what tools do we use at the paperless movement? Here I can talk again too, because this is the part of your business where everybody has the single source of truth that everybody is working in. All right. Last sessions, episodes, we talked about Paco's personal knowledge management, personal task management. And now we see how things come together. And we already added their ClickUp to the business project management area inside our ICOR framework. And today we will focus on what all this means, business project management and business knowledge management. And let's just move ClickUp into the intersection of both, because that's what we use ClickUp for. That's our single source of truth for business project management and business knowledge management. And yet there will be still tools coming that we add to these circles, right, Paco? Welcome back.
Correct. Hello, everybody. Well, it's important to, before moving on, to say that if anyone is managing different companies, it's highly recommended that they create a specific ICOR framework for each of the companies, because if not, it's gonna become chaotic, all this thing, okay? The personal area should be common for all the businesses, okay? But the business or team area changes depending on the company, maybe not, okay? But we always recommend to do one ICOR framework per company that you are managing or that you are working
as part of the
okay?
business of the ICOR framework, that's an
So
correct. From a team's perspective, if you have a team of 5 people working in this company, the business part of the ICOR framework is what they all have in common. And that's something that we might update in the future with the My ICOR application too, that we can lock this for the team. So everybody agreed on what they use from a team's perspective. But when it comes to personal productivity, on how to get the things done that the team is working on, that is individual. That can change from person to person. And that's what many team leaders and business owners get wrong. They try to force the team in using better personal productivity tools or the same thing. Whereas even if they use a piece of paper, as long as they get the things done, it doesn't matter what they use. The key is that needs to change in many teams is the understanding on what was agreed on that gets done this week, so that when the next meeting is and people say, I didn't get to it, or I don't know where the information is, that there's no room for finger pointing anymore. So it's now looking more into the personal productivity of the team member, than instead of blaming the business for not providing the information needed and things like that, or priorities or things that they heard on the floor and things like that. And that goes, again, as with all the things that we say at ICOR, it goes beyond tools. The tool agnostic foundation needs to be there, so you can use the tools in the most efficient way possible.
The thing is that if we look right now at the ICOR framework, we could say that it's done, okay, because all the areas are covered, okay, because the moment that we moved into the intersection of BKM and BPM ClickUp, okay, everything is covered, okay, all the different areas. But that's not our case, okay? We got many more tools, mainly in the business knowledge management area, okay?
Oh, yeah.
And those are the ones that we are going to start delivering right now.
And that's the thing, when you click now on ClickUp, you are presented, if you click on ClickUp on the ICOR framework, for those who are listening, it opens up a pop-up, a modal showing you more details. And we discussed this last time already. It's about the secondary categories. Now we have the high-level category of ClickUp, BKM, Business Knowledge Management, and BPM, Business Knowledge Management. But there is more to it. So if we open this up, we see now in BPM, it includes goal setting, project management, operations, and work streams. And in BKM, it includes team communication, idea incubator, file storage, brainstorming, and business knowledge. And this is where then you realize, do I actually use, or do we as a team use actually the same tool for all these things? It's very unlikely, especially when it comes to file storage. I don't think that many people upload their commonly used files to ClickUp, they have a Microsoft SharePoint
who knows?
folder. Or
Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah. If you do so, now is the moment to rethink, right? But there's no need to migrate. When people say, I'm going all in with this tool, that's maybe then what they try to force. How can I now organize my files inside ClickUp? You're right, Paco. But instead, keep it where it is. This gives you superpowers. Keep it on G Drive, keep it on your SharePoint or OneDrive in Microsoft or wherever it is, and link to these files from your project management tool. Therefore, you're building a single source of truth and link out to the context and sources that are needed to get the things done. So in our case, ClickUp, we use it for goal setting. We are using it for project management. We are using it for operations, and we're also using it for work streams. So in this case, for BPM, business project management, we are using ClickUp for all the secondary categories too. This doesn't mean that goal setting is only used in ClickUp. We are using Goalscape in addition to ClickUp to make things more complex. Goalscape, I bring it in here and I move it into the BPM area and I open it up and select goal setting. We could now discuss if this is actually a utility app or not, but no, it's not.
It's not.
There we
it's
do
not.
our
I don't
quarterly
consider
planning. And especially,
and this is something, it's something interesting to talk about, because we think, because this is a core app, because if we remove Goalscape, we lose that crucial vision of our goal setting process that is crucial for the company.
Correct.
The point is that it's a tool that we just use every quarter, just once. And it seems that because of that, we should, apart it, move it away, and saying that it's not important. And the thing is that it's not the number of times that you use a tool, but how crucial it is for your business. And we could run our business without Goalscape, for sure, but it enhances the process of goal setting. It brings clarity. It allows us to talk about things that are interesting, because when you are talking about the strategy, having that visualization of how Goalscape approach the goal setting process, for us, it's something useful, and it's something that reveals why tools that maybe you just use 4 times per year are worth it to pay for them, okay? Because it gives you, specifically because it's pretty well designed for a strategy, and there are not so many tools that are good at this point. In fact, if we compare how the process of goal setting on ClickUp and Goalscape, it has nothing to do, okay? Because it's a tool that has been specifically designed with that purpose on mind. And that's the moment that we really leverage the productivity system. And for us, and also it's a tool that I love. I even use it for myself, for my personal use, because it brings a lot of clarity, okay? It's a clarity that I cannot see in Miro, I cannot see on Heptabase, I cannot see in Tana using an outliner. And for me, they have done a great job, and it's a tool that I consider quite useful.
Yeah, correct. And that's why we move it in here. And that's also why you need to stick to tools. Maybe you think, there's a better one, and you find another alternative and you keep switching. Then you lose this long-term benefits, and you will never start leveraging the tools and the knowledge that you added to the tools. So adding Goalscape to the BPM area and setting goal setting, right, as the secondary category, we see now that's highlighted yellow and shows that ClickUp is also in this category. It's just a visual indicator to warn you that you might be using 2 tools for the same purpose. That's where you have to make the definition. So people say, why do you use this in addition to ClickUp? Well, Paco just explained why, but we have a very specific way to use it. Beginning of the year, we sit down and think about the overall yearly goals. Like we say, we should always set quarterly goals, but in the end, this is where we have the vision behind the year, and then we break it down into quarterly goals and say, okay, let's start the first quarter. These are the goals we want to start with. As Paco said, the visual representation inside Goalscape is just the better way to understand the scope of the goals and what to focus on, and also to see what we already accomplished in the past and what we want to accomplish moving forward. Once we did this per quarter, we then go to ClickUp, and that's something that people ask a lot, right? But how do you then keep track, or do you duplicate these things? No, Once we set the things in Goalscape, we go manually to ClickUp and create the goals in there that we laid out in Goalscape. So the very specific quarterly goals go into ClickUp, and then there we think about the projects and the tasks and all the action items to get the goal done. Because essentially it is just a project we need inside ClickUp, and by completing the project, we automatically complete the goal that we set up in the first place. But then we never go to Goalscape again during this quarter. But in the quarterly review, we go back to Goalscape, we open it up, we see how we progress, and then we start updating Goalscape there. So it is really just of the North Star, the big vision. And a lot happens when you go away. And that's why having this set up for the whole year and then come back every year, that's nonsense. So many things happen in just 90 days, one quarter, that now you have a position where you can readjust easily after 90 days, where you say, man, we went the wrong direction. Let's readjust. Let's reassign what happened in between. But you're still under control. If you do this 365 days later and realize, man, we missed the whole thing, that's where things fall apart. So we are using ClickUp to get the goals done, and we are getting Goalscape. We are using Goalscape for the bigger picture. And
also important
Paco, the last thing for Lester in the chat, do you embed it into ClickUp dashboard for the team? No, and that's two things. First of all, no embedding of the Goalscape and doing dashboards there, but also no integration, even if it would have direct integration with ClickUp and synchronize the things and so on. We found many times over and over again, it's so much more intuitive, intentional, doing it manually than synchronizing the things. People just forget. There's no awareness, and goals are not something that you constantly need to have updated or synchronized with something. You just follow them. What needs to be more dynamic and you need to focus on more is the projects and the actual tasks that you need to do in there. Because if everything is interconnected, the only focus you need during the quarter is completing your tasks. Paco, you wanted to mention?
I wanted to say that also Goalscape allows you to have a visualization of the goal. That it's pretty important because you can visually represent how important each goal is. And this is something that cannot be represented in most of the project management tools that are just a plain object. Okay, it's a container to link projects or any other containers to that goal. And by resizing, and the different goals, you get a visual representation that I think that it's quite impressive, talking that it's something that we manipulate, and we it removes the noise visually, and in a really good implementation, you can perfectly manage how important and crucial each goal is, and you get an understanding of the scope, and even allows you to remove specific goals and delay them or put them on hold based on how crucial one is compared to the others. And this is something that you can also do pretty quickly. I think that it's pretty fast how you interact with the tool, and that's why we keep saying that it's worth it in our case.
That's not something we share here in the podcast, because for those who are listening, this would be too complex to explain, but look up Goalscape. It's really important what Paco says here. Goalscape is just used by us for the visual representation of the goals that is not available inside ClickUp. And that makes it useful to use in addition for ClickUp. On the other hand, I think we are using just, 10% of the features inside Goalscape. We are not adding any information into the description field. We don't add due dates or anything like that Goalscape offers, because this would make then the things blurry between our action system and our goal setting system. And that's why it's important when we go here, we only, inside Goalscape, the secondary category is only goal setting. There's no project management, nothing work streams, nothing. So this keeps it independent on the time and just gives us the North Star, whereas the actual planning happens then inside ClickUp. That's important to point out. So let's move on. So we go through all the things. What's important too for us is team communication system. So that's something we teach in the ICOR methodology, to have a single source of truth for team communication, but also rules behind the different levels of communication when you reach out to people and what channel you use to reach out in what situation. And there again, luckily, we can use now ClickUp for the team communication too. Something we used for over 7 years before that was Slack, and many used it. It is a beautiful team communication system, again, where many people then misunderstand to use Slack also as a project management tool. And well, Slack themselves went down the road for the project management tool approach too, which I don't know for who it works, but it's not built from the ground up for this purpose. ClickUp is built from the ground up for the purpose of project management, and that's a big difference. Now they added a cheat.
And also, it's much easier to move from project management to team communication than vice versa,
That's the point,
because project management is huge.
In project management, you have the task, and in most project management tools, you can now comment on tasks already. You have already a communication happening there. And now having the superpower to being able to mention anything within your action system is really powerful. And that's why we saw the potential for a long time already, but we never thought, to be honest, that they really will pull it off, that they will be able to remove Slack for us, right? But they made it. ClickUp made it.
We were
able. Something that I worried about is the notification system that we build up. We have integration with other tools that give us notification about new members who sign up or anything like this. And they immediately added the Zapier integration and many things. So we were able to move on. But then having the advantage of having the full knowledge base available too killed Slack within 1 week. 100,000 messages we left behind and moved on to ClickUp in an instant. And this wasn't so easy, but the benefits are there. And the same happened when we used Notion and ClickUp in combination, where we used Notion for knowledge management because it was so beautiful. Once you realize what you really need, it makes the decision much easier that you can live with the tool as it is, and you don't need another tool in addition to just for the benefit of lowering friction for the whole team and many things like that.
Yes, and in fact, moving the team communication system to ClickUp was life-changing. It's so useful to have the communication there, thinking about the chat, okay? Because you can quickly link to any other object inside your project management system, and that's life-changing. No matter that we did it just using links, is not the same user experience, okay? How you can make everything, and also thinking about the searching process, the moment that you can make a search, no matter if it's a task, a message, or whatever, the traceability of anything that has happened in the team, it's simply amazing. And by the way, the implementation and allowing you to move things to the inbox and receiving all the notifications there and having that amazing central hub of managing all your things related to the team within just one tool is impressive. So congratulations for them, because we criticize ClickUp in many aspects, but in others, it's amazing. And in fact, that's why we keep using it, okay? Yeah. It's not due to any other reason, but that it's an impressive project management tool that allows you a good combination of knowledge and action that not so many project management tools are able to really create that balance between information and action. And this is something that ClickUp is really impressive because when you compare, for instance, let's compare with Linear or Asana, for instance, those are project management and they suffer talking about information. Or the other way around, if you move to Notion and that type of business knowledge management, they are not project management that has been thought to deliver what real project management needs, talking about actions, projects, change of statuses, and no matter that you can create the setup, but the features that perfect project management system like tool like ClickUp, it's impossible to compete. And that's why we keep using it, because it's impressive.
That's correct. And the thing is that many people make things too complicated, overcomplicate things, and the tools are not helping to reduce the complexity inside the tools. Tools like ClickUp, Notion, they all are compared like they are the same, but they are not. They have completely different feature sets. And 90% of the features you don't even need to be more productive with your team. That's the thing where we talk about ClickUp and how it's better with the chat. The thing is, our productivity was the same before with Slack as our tool agnostic workflows behind this, how we communicate with the team, what channels are used, what do you write on Slack versus what do you write inside ClickUp and things like that. This never changed. It just consolidated things into one tool, which is beautiful because now we have one consolidated inbox with the chat messages that are relevant, plus the task updates and comments in one thing. Before that, there was an inbox in Slack and there was an inbox in ClickUp. And based on the ICOR methodology, we had our routines to process both and never anything fell through the cracks. That's why, again, if you are out there saying, but I'm stuck to Microsoft ecosystem, that's not a problem. The problem is that you don't have a system in place that helps you to use the tools in the best efficient way possible. I worked in big corporate with in a very restrictive environment with the tools like Microsoft environment and so on. And it still works. It's always that people seeking the solution based on tools and not looking into the actual tool agnostic system building to find the right solution. And for knowledge management, ClickUp is more than enough. And that's where actually more tools come in, because now it's not that everything ends up in ClickUp, right? It is the single source of truth. And let's say, for example, for video recording and editing in the process, I'm storing everything inside Dropbox. Well, also with the design team, anything designed for our magic slides, for our membership courses, and many things end up in Dropbox, as this is a trustworthy place to be in. We could also use G Drive. That wouldn't make a difference except for the big files. And that's where we realized it's better to use Dropbox. But that's, again, a very specific use case. And that's why we have chosen Dropbox. The functionality behind it is still the same between Dropbox, G Drive, SharePoint. You could use either and use the links to the relevant resources and add them to your project management system in order to have instantly the relevant information available. Adding it into ClickUp would make duplicated information, would make it also connected to a system that when you move on to a new system that you have to migrate, it's a headache to get all the data out again. So that's why decoupling the file storage from your ClickUp, in our case, makes all the sense. So Dropbox would be there, right? But also mention G Drive.
G Drive.
In this case,
because we use the Google Workspace product, especially for accounting and things like using Google Docs or Google Excel sheets and things like that. And it's another single source of truth for us. And it's not for file system storage, but to store the documents within the Google Workspace product. That works amazingly well.
One very specific example would be our ICOR Journey book, where the thought process and the action happened inside ClickUp, adding the chapters, doing the review, commenting on each other, and optimizing the process. That was done in ClickUp Docs, right? Then the final product went to Google Docs, because this is what the design team can best use to create the final product out of it. And this link to this Google Docs still lives inside ClickUp. So with a few clicks, we have everything accessible within seconds. There's no searching through folders or anything like that. Also, it is located in folders. And that's the thing. Even the beauty is, if we move the things now out of a folder on these storages into another folder, the links stay active. It doesn't matter. The link still goes to the right location. It's not breaking the links. And that's, again, leveraging digital time. And then we have also...
Sorry?
For the file storage, this was it.
Oh, yeah. File storage. Yeah.
That was all right. There's nothing else that we use. Did I forget something? No. It was just G Drive and Dropbox.
We got Miro.
Yeah.
That allows us to think as a team. Again. And it's a tool that we are constantly using.
And again, Miro tries to give you team knowledge and even project management and all these things. You need to learn to ignore these things and really use the tools for the key features that you need to use them. We use Miro a lot to do complex problem solving, laying out our courses together, team thinking and all this. But the conclusions always end up in our single source of truth, which is ClickUp. And we link out Miro. And what else?
Airtable.
Oh, Airtable.
We got
yeah.
Airtable.
Correct. Well, Airtable, yeah, we are used as our customer database and also content storage. And that's where, when you have these properly defined, then you think about automation. So in our case, we create articles and videos inside ClickUp. So the action gets done inside ClickUp. And when we complete it, it then gets published to Airtable, and Airtable distributes it automatically then to our website and inside our membership community and things like that. It's not Airtable, obviously, it's the automation Zapier that we use in order to do this, but that goes far too deep into our very specific setup. And that's where people get caught up watching YouTube videos where they see examples and crazy things, and then they start with the end goal in mind, and then they build something that works for a different business and not their own. That's why we need to lay out these ICOR frameworks from the ground up.
Correct. There was one thing missing now that I'm looking at the whole ICOR framework, that it was in my personal area as a satellite app, Winkle, that I would like to mention, because it's a good enhancer of Google Calendar. And in fact, I have tried to kill it many times in my case, even trying with Superhuman, that is betting quite tough on the calendar feature, but it's miles away at this moment compared to a proper and a specifically designed tool calendar like Winkle. Okay, they have done an amazing job, and it's something. And I was counting all the different tools, and if I'm not wrong, 17 tools.
Yeah.
And now it's the moment to think about one tool that rules everything, all this thing properly for a busy professionals, and put it on the middle. And it's quite difficult.
The thing is that many people out there have 17 tools too, but maybe only in the PKM area, in the personal knowledge management, right? They have 17 different note-taking apps, and then they wonder why it's not working. Now looking at your tool stack here, it looks like, man, you are using so many tools. And no, that's the minimum. And each tool has its specific purpose. And I think Lester in the chat, he has a great question as well that I want to cover in this call too. Do you have a single source of truth for partially planned projects, planning in progress, then import it into ClickUp? No, that's called our idea incubator. That's inside ClickUp. It is a placeholder, if you like, for ideas. So if it is partially planned, it's not planned at all. Right? It is an idea that's growing, and that's why we call it idea incubator. So you're incubating this idea. And then in your quarterly reviews, you go into the idea incubator and go through the ideas that you have. If you have a bigger team and you have more things appearing, you might want to do this weekly, but we do this quarterly because that's part of the quarterly review. We see what we have completed, and then we go into the idea incubator, and there are already the individual ideas of projects that get planned on the go. So whenever something new comes up that could benefit in this project, it gets added inside the idea incubator, but it's a place that is not action. It's still information while it's in there. And then you have a kickstart because everything happened already in your project management tool, and all you need to do is create a project out of it and get going.
Yeah, and the thing is that the moment that you have created an object on ClickUp, you can perfectly work with it. I mean, in this idea incubator, imagine that you have done a brainstorming session, for instance, talking about planning this project, okay? And there was a moment that you say, well, this is getting too complicated. We cannot handle this at this moment, so we put it on hold. Well, you can put a link on ClickUp to that Miro board where the thinking process was, and then later on in the next quarterly planning is the moment that you go back and start replanning the thing. Okay, so nothing gets lost, but the noise. Okay, that's the important thing. We need to create signal, and our productivity system needs to create signal at every moment. It doesn't matter if it's around just one specific task or a whole goal setting process or whatever. You know, it's bringing clarity and telling you the things that matter and removing all the things that is just noise.
Correct.
Okay.
And this was it for this session. Next time we talk about automation. and all the tools that we use there and how we approach automating our workflows. And if you want to see it, make sure to check in next week. We catch you up in the next one then. Thanks for joining.
Okay. See you guys. Thank you so much.